As the academic year approaches, we here at Xavier University wanted to take a moment to address some of the students' and parents' most pressing questions. Hello, Xavier Nation. My name is Doug Rushman, Associate Vice President for Communications here at Xavier, and a Xavier graduate. I had the opportunity today to go around our campus and ask some of those important questions to many of our faculty and staff to make sure that you have the answers that you need as we get excited to welcome our students back to campus. Rachel, for some students it lists the idea of online classes and hybrid classes. Can you tell us a little bit about the difference of each of those and how those classes will function?
Online classes are going to be designated as 100% online classes. Those are classes where you're taking it completely online, whether you're meeting at the same time or not. Hybrid classes are classes where half the students will be present in the class and the other half will be coming in remotely. So a lot of classes at Xavier are going to be offered in a hybrid way so that we can meet together safely and maintain distance while still staying connected to each other. Xavier has invested in new technology across campus in all of its classrooms that include displays, it includes camera, includes microphone, so that students and instructors can communicate and be completely engaged with each other during the hybrid experience.
Rachel, do you have any tips for students as the academic year approaches?
Our faculty have invested a lot of time this summer preparing for you to come back to campus. My top 3 tips are: reach out to your faculty member about the class and how it's going to run, check your Canvas page, and go to the Return to Campus site where you'll find the Student Guide to Learning at Xavier University.
Dr. Cleve, some universities have asked all of their students who are returning to provide a negative COVID test. Xavier has not. Can you talk a little bit about that reasoning?
Well, Doug, the CDC does not recommend that universities require testing for everyone coming back. The fact of the matter is, the test really tells you that you're okay prior to returning. It really doesn't give you any proof that you're even fine when you do return. Testing will never take the place of masks, hand washing, social distancing, good hygiene, deep cleaning. Those things are so much more important than providing a negative test prior to school.
Dr. Cleves, if someone's not feeling well, what are the steps that they should take to be in touch with the Center for Health and Counseling here at the university?
Well, Doug, we absolutely want anyone who does not feel well to contact us. You know, with the COVID situation, we are asking people to avoid walking in so we can avoid congregation here at the hub, but call. We will evaluate your symptoms. We'll give you a time to be seen, and we will definitely, thoroughly evaluate anyone who needs to be seen.
Beyond COVID, will the same types of services that are usually available up here at the Xavier and Tri-Health Health and Counseling Center still be available, including flu shots this fall?
Absolutely, we will. We will continue to offer our full range of services. We expect that flu shots will be available by the middle of September. And you have to remember, Doug, beyond what's here at the hub, we have the backing of the entire Tri-Health system, a full range of hospitalists and specialists. In fact, when I mentioned before about the CDC and testing everybody before they come back to school, that we have the full support of Tri-Health's Infectious Disease Department agreeing with Xavier's decision.
Jean, can you tell us a little bit about the expectations for students for this fall?
Students have such an essential role in us being able to stay on campus together. So we all want to be back on our campus. We want to be here, and our students play a critical role in helping make that happen. Wearing masks, staying socially distant, avoiding large gatherings, and we mean that both here on campus and in our community. Students are really going to need to change some of their normal behaviors. We all are, in order for us to stay here and have the Xavier experience we all know and love.
Jean, I've heard a little bit about the 4 R's and the all-for-one commitment. Can you tell students a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so Xavier's motto, all for one, one for all. The one for all piece here, the individual actions that we all are going to take to help keep everybody else safe are critical. And we're going to ask students to uphold some community expectations around that, things like wearing masks and social distancing, and complying with some of our testing and treating and tracing. expectations. And we're going to ask students to affirm that they understand those new expectations and that they're willing to comply with them. We're also telling the whole community that we all have a shared responsibility to speak up when we see somebody not following those community expectations. And we've provided the 4 R's to make it a little easier to have some of these difficult conversations, to say to somebody, to remind them, hey, this is our expectation, this is what we need to do at Xavier, to request that they change whatever that behavior is, that they remedy that behavior. So they don't have a mask, they go get one on. They're standing a little too close, they back up. And if all else fails, we do ask people to then report if someone is not complying with what we need everyone to do in order for us to stay here together.
Jean, you noted test, treat, and trace plans. Can you talk a little bit more about that, including this idea of isolation or quarantine space?
Absolutely. So in order for us to be here and to be as safe as possible, we have to quickly identify students who may have symptoms or may have been had a close contact to someone who has received a positive COVID-19 test. And so we're going to be providing testing to those students to identify them quickly. We're going to be treating them. We're going to be providing that Xavier care and support to them to make sure that they have the support that they need, which might include asking them to quarantine or isolate or self-quarantine in their room to protect themselves, to protect the rest of the community. And then we're going to be engaging in contact tracing. With the support of the local health departments, Xavier is going to work to identify those people that may have come in close contact with a positive student and to be able to give them a warning and a heads up that they may need to get tested themselves or do some quarantining themselves.
And so as a follow-up, can you tell us a little bit more about that actual isolation and quarantine space?
We have some space. We've set aside some space intentionally on our campus for our residential students who may need to be separated from their roommates or their suite mates. And that space is going to be available. We're going to make case-by-case decisions in terms of who is most appropriate to move to those spaces. And again, while students are in those spaces, we're going to be providing a whole range of supports, personal, academic, emotional, providing food and other kinds of things that they need to be as comfortable as possible during that unfortunate circumstance.
I'm happy to be joined now by Brian Gibson, Xavier University's Regional Director of Admissions. Brian, one of the questions that we've got is a little bit about what to expect from Xavier's newest student class. So could you give us a little bit of perspective on the newest group of students that are going to be enrolling at Xavier this year?
Doug, I appreciate that question. Absolutely. First and foremost, I'd just like to congratulate the class of 2024. During this pandemic and these uncertain times, this class, much like previous classes, has performed very well. Xavier is an organization that part of our values and some of our goals are we committed to the common good and the education of the whole person. And we challenge each student in the Xavier community. And this 2024 class is no different. 1 in 4 students out of this class are essentially diverse. We have almost 1 in 5 students that are first generation, which lends itself very well to the overall wealth and health of the Xavier community, education-wise from the academic standpoint. Over 55% of our student body is from out of state. As you indicated initially, I am located in Atlanta, Georgia. I represent the Southeast, but I know my colleagues as well as myself, we are very complimentary of this freshman class that's coming in. They have done exceptionally well from an academic standpoint as well, having a very strong grade point average. And then, of course, this being the second largest class in Xavier history to come during the pandemic really speaks to the overall success, not only of Xavier, but the staff as well.
That's great, Brian. I appreciate the comments there. You're right, second biggest class in Xavier history. There's no more exciting time to be a Musketeer than right now. So thanks for all your recruiting efforts. I know you and your team are thinking about talking to the students who are now rising seniors in high school. And so best of luck as the next year gets kicked off for yet another group of interested Musketeers.
Doug, I appreciate that. And again, congratulations to the class of 2024. We look forward to having you on campus. We can't be more excited about you guys coming in the upcoming week. And we know that this year, although there have been a little bit of damper, we know there's going to be the best year yet. Thank you again.
Dave, can you tell us a little bit about what life is going to be like this year in the residence halls?
You know, this fall, we are eager to welcome 2,300 students back to our residence halls. Residence life at Xavier is really a magical place. It's a place where people develop some of their very deepest friendships. It's a place where community happens. It's a place where community happens that then is transferred to the rest of the campus community. It's also a place where many of our students develop mentorship relationships with their RAs, with their hall directors. And the result of all of that is the kind of magic that helps Xavier become a place where students feel like they're at home. Now this year, there's going to be a couple things that are a little different, as people can expect. You know, we have a great desire to care for our community, and one way in which we'll exercise that this year is that we're going to do things like practice social distancing. We're going to wear masks. And you know, those are things we're going to do in the residence halls too. Now inside people's rooms, of course, they're not going to have a mask on if it's just them and their roommate. But if they're walking around the hallways, we're going to ask them to wear their mask. And we're going to ask them to keep their distance. Because we believe that if people, you know, keep their distance, we will go the distance. And that's a way in which we want to invest in our community. Now let me say something else. An extension of our residence life experience is also our dining experience. This year, dining will continue to be an important part of our community. It'll also be a little bit different. This year, we're going to ask students to make reservations before they go to the Hoff Dining Hall. There's going to be a whole host of kinds of places around campus where you can grab and go, but it's going to require just a little bit more planning, but that's cool. And we're still confident that the dining experience is going to be something that's going to add to students' experience at Xavier.
Dave, you know, sometimes a lot of students think about how am I going to be able to get involved, activities, how do I kick off the year? Can you tell us a little bit about clubs and organizations?
A key figure of the Xavier experience is our campus experience. And we offer students a really robust student life. One feature of that is that we have over 160 clubs and organizations. And we always create all kinds of entry points into those clubs and organizations for our students because we want them to find those things they're passionate about. We want them to explore new passions and to help people get familiar with what's available. We'll have club days. Now this year, instead of having one big club day, we're actually going to have 3 club days. We're also going to have some that are on the ground, and we're going to have some that are virtual. If students want to start to learn more about those opportunities now, they can. They can go to xavier.edu/clubs and start to get a sense of what's out there. Because let me promise you this, with 160 student clubs and organizations, there's something for everybody. And in the very off chance that there's not, then we're going to invite you to create a club, and we'll support you as you develop something new to contribute to this cool community. Now, I should also add, I'm actually currently in our brand new recreational facility building, the Hub, and it is wonderful. And I want people to know that this year we're going to still have clubs. We're going to have club sports. We're going to have intramurals. We're going to have fitness classes. We're going to have ways for people to stay fit and engaged through sport throughout the course of the year. Now, there too, we're going to do some things to care for one another and care for ourselves, including social distancing. But nonetheless, are the opportunities going to be there? Yes. Will they look a little different? Yes. Will it still be really cool? Yes.
Dave, as you think about the year ahead and all that's happened with students for the past number of months, what's your biggest hope for them in the year to come?
My hope for the next 9 months is that students come here, that they get engaged, that they make this place home, and that it becomes a place in which they learn, in which they grow, in which they explore. And I want to be clear, it's also a place in which they can contribute. Xavier is a community that is driven by our students. We're a student leader-driven community. And so we're really excited to see what you have to offer us in the year that lies ahead. We're really excited for you to help us work together to engineer a campus community in this context that continues to offer the magic that we have provided for well over 100 years.
Xavier Nation, in just the last couple of weeks, our campus has been transformed to be ready for you. With over 1,000 different cleaning and sanitizing stations around our campus now implemented and ready for your return, Xavier is really looking forward to seeing you soon. Well, there you have it. Thanks for staying in touch with us online, through email, and all of our social channels. And remember, for students, to keep in contact with your student success coach should you have more individual questions before you make your final return. We look forward to seeing you all soon.